Right then, welcome back. Today we're going to do the Nurburgring Master event. So 5 races on Nordschleife, and all I'll say is this was a nightmare. It was probably the worst non-endurance event that I've done so far. It just never seemed to stop. First race is a track day. We're using 750s, and I ummed and ahed, and in the end I thought I'll go for the GSXR. I don't know why, just that's what took my fancy. I was already looking past this to the other event. So setup wise, the Nurburgring is mega bumpy. There's some really hard transitions as well, changing directions, and you're on the brakes and you're hitting dips, and there's jumps and lumps and all sorts. So I was aware of having quite a lot of compliance in the suspension, hence the setup. Tyres wise, well, it's a track day, it doesn't really matter, and it's a 9750, so as long as the tyres aren't made of rice pudding skin, we should be okay. And yeah, 26 passes 26 passes in 2.5 minutes. I thought that was a bit steep, but it turns out that the AI riders were, what's the word I'm looking for, shit. Some of the things they did in front of you were horrendous, so enjoy. And she's done. Number 1 done. Done and dusted. Wasn't Wasn't the hardest, wasn't the easiest. I thought it was going to be a bit steep, but it wasn't, and it's done. But there were some issues with the bike handling, which I didn't ignore, but I should have taken more notice of even. So event 2, 7 to 900cc-ish triples. I could have gone for the Brutale or the RVS, but I'd not done a massive amount of miles on the MT09, so I thought I'll go for the MT09, and I should have gone with the MV Augustas. This started a downward spiral of frustration and me losing my patience, and ended with the difficulty being turned down because I just couldn't do it. I either couldn't beat the AI, or I just couldn't stop crashing trying to beat the AI. So in the end I admitted defeat, and it's never been about doing the whole game on 120%. That's never been the aim, but some of this was just frustration, just my own stupidity. Across the inside of the curb, across the inside of the second curb, onto the grass and off. So that was attempt number 1, and it continued and continued. I got back on, I thought it's okay, I can catch him up, it's not a problem. 4.5 seconds, no, run wide on the grass again, and we're off. So nearly 10 seconds behind now. It's alright, it's 3 laps of Nurburgring. It's a good, 20 minutes long, 24 minutes long at 8 minutes a lap, so we've got loads of time. No, crash again, 13.5 seconds behind. Coming up to carousel, the engine braking on the MT09. Without any engine braking it wouldn't stop. With engine braking, the back end of the bike was all over the shop. I mean, look at this. What are you doing? Like, I'm better than that, but for some reason, and I know it's been a while since I've done a ride video, especially with me jabbering on in the background, but I'm running wide over crest and the bike's understeering and the tyres aren't warm, but then you make the suspension soft to get heat in the tyres and then the bike won't start. So it was just a merry-go-round of pain, and it just wouldn't stop. So that was just attempt number 1. This is attempt number 2. The jump, look at this for a tank slapper. Go on, get off there. Absolutely horrendous. Thought no bother, I'll carry on, and I ended up down in 12th, 17 odd seconds behind. Get on the curve, flicks me off. I was just like, no, that needs to stop. So I had a little bit of a play with the settings. I mucked about with the gearing. I chose tyres this and tyres that and tyres the other, and just nothing seemed to work. Attempt number 3, end of the first lap. I can't believe I did this, so I was so mad with myself. Bang, inside barrier, get off, done. I thought, you know what I mean, never give up, never give up. I've won endurance races on the last corner, which we'll come to again in a minute, but now I run into the back of him, and I thought, it's okay, just bear with it, you're alright, it's not a problem. And it kicks and bucks and understeers me straight into the barrier. So 3 crashes in 3 corners, that's enough for me. I'm off, and we're turning the difficulty down. And I went down like levels at a time, so from 120 to 100. Attempt number 4, again lap 1, I'm all over the place on the curbs, the bike's just, it's the same accidents, just with slightly different lighting and a slightly different line. Attempt number 5, I'm in 4th, it's lap 2 or 3, over the curb on the inside, and it's the same again. Curb on one side, curb on the other side, grass, barrier, off, done, restart. So I just, I was really starting to, test my patience. I wouldn't mind if it was 2 minutes a lap, but it's not. It's 8 minutes a lap, so 2 laps, quarter of an hour, what we're on now. Attempt number 6 or something daft. I mean, the best part of 2 hours had gone by this point, and yeah, I was just starting to get very annoyed. I haven't done lap 1 or lap 3 or something like that. What I've done is essentially a highlights package. So we get away from the start, not too bad. Bear in mind I've knocked it down to 90% AI difficulty, and they're not shabby. Well, they're not great and I'm shabby, so somewhere in the middle there's a meeting of minds, and it's worked out somehow. But the bike, it's just a bit understeery. I haven't spent any time setting it up on any tracks, nothing. I really need to take it to Utah or Magny-Cours and work out what it wants to do and how it wants to do it. But we get away, we're pulling away reasonably well. I wouldn't say we're pulling a massive gap out. And this little crest was to cause me lots of trouble in the upcoming races, but we'll come to that. We'll come to that later on, like the endurance race. But anyway, we're away, we're building a lead, and we are just over halfway round the first lap, and a local resident comes past, puts us down to second. And I thought, I've got to get past straight away, otherwise I'll never get past them, they'll just leave me. It was this bit of the lap that I struggled with. First bit of the lap, I was alright. Second section, down towards like the foxhole, I was quicker than them. Then down the hill to the very bottom of the circuit, I was alright. And then this bit I was crap. And then down the Dottinger Hoe, I was faster than they were. So lap 2, nearly halfway round, too late on the brakes, back end slides out into the barriers. We get going again, we're down in second. There's not a massive amount of time difference between the AI riders, so if one comes past you, more than likely 2 or 3 come past you, and it's another Nordschleife local by the looks of it who's setting the pace, and we've just got to try and hunt him down. And when the pass came, was it naughty? Yeah, it was a bit naughty. I didn't really need to stuff it up the inside, but take every opportunity you can get. I don't know if he ran wide, I don't know if he ended up anywhere on the grass or anything like that, but yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, it wasn't that bad. Maybe I remembered it being worse because my hands were sweaty as you like, but a little bit further around the lap, not far, only, a mile, maybe at the most, into the carousel again. Look what I do, oh my god. Too late on the brakes, too tight in the corner, smashing the barriers. Get back on, we're in third. There's still a good 12 minutes of racing left. So I wasn't overly concerned. It was just a case of chasing them down and trying to get back to the front. finally caught him up. Same place as last time, and this, well, it's not rude, but ooh, yeah, that was rude. Yeah, that's the one that I thought was the first overtake. That was a filthy overtake. It was absolutely unnecessary. But anyway, towards the end of the lap, I've not got a massive lead, do a bit of grass tracking, trying everything I can not to fall off, and Mr. Justin Schulman, who I've just absolutely ruined out the back of the circuit, has gone past again. And this is a quick bit. I like this bit of the track, one of my favourite parts of the track on other racing games that I play. And yeah, I was concerned I had no back tyre left, 0. It's been at 0 for the best part of a lap. Again, something that gripes me later on in some other events that I've been doing recently, that the tyres just don't last. It doesn't matter what you choose, just absolute dog shit programming from Milestone. But anyway, we digress. Into the last couple of corners, I don't want to run wide, so I end up running too tight. I get on the curb, he's on the MV RVS, and I'm just not going to catch him. I'm absolutely never ever going to catch him. I do everything I can to get in the draft, and because I've turned the difficulty down, it turns out that I am going to catch him, and I am going to go past him, and I am going to win. So it finishes alright. It's done, and that's only the second event, and I am what, nearly 3 hours into this by now. There was that much footage on my hard drive, my external hard drive, that I had to delete stuff off my laptop to edit it, because it was just me being an arse for hours and hours and hours. But anyway, event number 3, time attack on race modified naked or sports bikes. Again, I'm up and down. I'm looking at what I can use, what I can't use. I'm like, do I go for the V4S? It's meant to be the most powerful thing on the game. When it is, if you're at the Northwest 200, it's absolutely mental. In the end, I go for the V4 on the basis that it's a third bike. It should be faster on the straights. Setup wise, again, the rebound and compression settings are right down the bottom to try and let the shock breathe and not be too stiff and too hard and start firing me out the seat. And yeah, just over 7 minutes, 7 minutes and 5 for the gold, and I thought that was quite harsh. In fact, I thought that was very harsh. So attempt number 1 into the last turn, and guess what? Oh, you stupid boy! Hit the barrier on the inside. If I hadn't have hit the barrier, I would probably have done it. What do I end up on? 707 something. So that accident, definitely, I would have done it. Absolutely 100%. But I guess it gave me a marker. I normally restart, but I wanted the marker with a time difference to show me how far ahead or behind I was, which over a 7 and a bit minute lap I thought would be useful. Turns out it was. So attempt number 2, Panigale V4, 7 minutes 5, Nordschleife. Enjoy. he's done. Not by the margin that I expected. I thought I was going to do it better than that, but there was a lot of get-offs, wasn't there? Wasn't the tidiest of Nordschleife laps that you will ever see. So, event 4. Event 4, 3 laps, same bikes, race modified, 1000ccs, naked or sports bikes. Well, I've already used this, so I know it works. I'll give it a go. Yes, I forgot to turn the AI back up to 120%. Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? No, probably not. The endurance race has its own independent settings apparently, so I've not touched the setup. We're going straight in, and it's the V4 Panigale, 3 laps. It's a long way, 3 laps. It's a fair old chunk of time. So again, I've done it the highlights-ish kind of thing, rather than doing a first lap and a last lap, because this video is long enough as it is. And even turned down to 90% or whatever they are, they were quick. I mean, it doesn't help when I start doing stupid things like that straight into the back of things. So we move on. I'm in 11th. I'm 3 and a bit seconds behind the leader, and yeah, I'm not really going to talk too much on this one because there's a lot to get through on the endurance race. So me on a Panigale V4 trying to work my way back through the pack on the Nordschleife. Enjoy. done. Reasonable gap in the end. I mean, it's on 90%. I should be absolutely smashing it, and we had a decent gap, so it wasn't too bad. Which just leaves us the one absolutely ridiculous endurance race, and I've had some very close finishes on endurance races in the past. More than happy with that, don't mind. I love it when there's always a little sniff right to the last couple of minutes. This was possibly the most ridiculous and at the same time the most relieving endurance race, 40-minute endurance race win that I've probably had, because I thought this entire thing had gone to rat shit. Convinced, coming down the Dottinger Hoe on the last lap, miles over the time limit, because I started the last lap with 3 minutes left. I think I'm in 4th position, I was like, or 3rd position. I thought this is never ever going to work, but yeah, you'll see. It's just one of them absolutely mental races. So off the start, 4 of the AI decide to commit suicide and all crash into each other. I'm mucking about with the electronics down the bottom. I'm on the standard map. I'm using a bit of traction, a bit of engine braking, whilst the rest of the field vanish into yonder distance. It doesn't go bad. It doesn't go too bad for the first couple of laps, 5 minutes. And the thing that caught me out the most was their pit stop strategy. The AI pit stop strategy is absolutely stupid. I cannot begin to fathom how the game developers have come up with the strategy that they've come up with. It's stupid. But anyway, into the meat of the lap properly, and there's bikes all over the place. We're trying to work our way through, and it's busy. It's a narrow track. It's a quick track. There's bumps all over the place, and you end up in the barriers. 3 minutes later, 2 minutes later, down towards Swedish Cross, and we're flying past riders. There's riders falling off all over the place. I'm very, very wary of them doing things like that, coming back onto the racing line, because they're on a pre-programmed racing line. We know they are. Milestone, they're not actually organic AI that react to what you're doing. They just want to race on their racing line like that and knock you off, and you're in the barriers. And we've gone from 4th to 2nd to 3rd and back to 4th again. Somehow, I don't know how, we've ended up at the end of lap 1 in 4th position, and everyone else goes into the pits. They've still got 68% fuel left. I mean, they had 60-something% at the very worst, and this is where my grey matter started going. So how long can I go? How long can I go? Oh, and I'm on the Aprilia RSV4, my favourite endurance bike. So how long can I go before I need to make a fuel stop? So I ended up putting it on low fuel, and we went 4 laps in. We went for the best part of 30 minutes before we had to make a fuel stop. Put mediums on, which was a mistake. I should have gone for the hard, but I was looking at how warm the hard was on the front. What I didn't take into account is the full tank of fuel and a medium front tyre, and the front end was just awful. I mean, the pit exit, just have a look at this, great bit of programming, get that up here, bang into the barriers, thank you very much. We were 40 seconds in front, and that lead goes from 40 seconds to 9 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it is. A little bit further around this lap, and we've got no lead whatsoever. The front tyre's no good, runs wide on the gravel, we get off, we're down to 3rd. 7 minutes left, still the same lap, 5th lap, just after I come out of the pits. I'm trying to catch him up, massive slide, cold tyres, full tank of gas, not working. We end up down in 4th. I'm looking at the time, thinking, well, there's one more lap after this. It's going to be a max of 6 laps. I get distracted, too fast into the second corner there, run into the barriers. This is carnage, there's bikes all over the place. We go from 6th to 4th and don't really do anything. We're 4 seconds behind, then the lead falls off. God knows how we missed that rider. We're up to 3rd. All over the curbs, we've got loads of fuel left. I put way too much gas in. I could have got away with probably 70% or something like that and run it on standard, but it doesn't matter. Into the long set of right-handers before the Dottinger Hoe, and everybody falls off. there's just carnage. These bikes absolutely everywhere. Somehow we end up still in 4th position, and there's 1 lap left, and it's absolute carnage. And they've got 39%, 35% fuel left. So the person in second, I can't see their fuel level. So I'm hoping and praying that all of them go into the pits, because there's no way they're going to carry on around with 30% fuel. They were pitting at 60-something% at the end of the first lap. So I'm watching the little mini leaderboard, top left. I can see one of the riders in front of me, who's going in the pits, who's not. First place has gone in. I'm like, yeah, this is no problem. I'm going to have a massive lead because they're both going to go in the pits. And, well, second place doesn't bother going in the pits, do they? So I'm like, well, I've got a stone cold front tyre. I've got way too much fuel. There's invisible bricks on the circuit causing wheelies like that. And I've now got to chase down the leader. So I'm going to show up, and I'm going to let you watch quite possibly the most ridiculous last lap of any endurance race ever in the world. How mental was that? 12 seconds behind. 12 seconds behind coming onto the Dottinger Hoe straight in third place. And we win because they go into the pits on the last lap. I don't get it. I don't mind because I really didn't want to do that again because it was painful. It was a painful race, but it's done. The event's done. It's a long event and we've got a free bike that we've already got, which means the one we've got to sell. Don't even get me going. It was alright, the event. In fact, no, it wasn't. It was shit. It was a shit event. It just goes on and on and on and on. It never ends. The only event that gets anywhere near it for being a pain in the arse is the extreme performance event, which I've not done a video on yet, but I did that the other day. But it's done. It's finished. I won't be doing it again. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, whatever takes your fancy. I really appreciate it. And fingers crossed, I'll see you next time. Stay safe. Peace.